I mean, you think about when you sign up for TikTok, right? You have to agree.
Yes.
To give up your name, your age, your location. What else? Your access to your camera, your mic. Keystroke rhythms. See, what a lot of people don't understand what keystroke rhythms are. Like, they can tell who you are by the way you type. Literally. And like, I want y'all to wrap your brain around that by how fast, how hard, and how long you press the keys. They can tell who you are. I mean, that's pretty deep, bro. You know what I'm saying? Now that feels intrusive. That feels like a proctologist appointment. It does.
So back to what I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to Life One Podcast. This is where we listen and inspire friends in entertainment.
And everywhere.
That's right, because life happeneth not to everyoneth. Everyoneth is not it, right?
That whole thing.
That whole thing was just gone. Anyway, y'all get it. Welcome to Life One Podcast. Yo, my name is Stone Stafford, and I'm with my ride or die right
Johnny
here.
Vaughn, what it is, what it do?
Y'all know what it is, man. We thank you guys for listening. We hope you're laughing, and we hope you are learning, because today we're going to hop on this whole TikTok ban.
Let's do it.
It's got a lot of people scared right now.
Why?
Especially if you're a creator.
Why?
It has a lot of people scared right now.
No, even more.
But there's also a lot of misinformation out there that I hope to clear up.
Is it even more scared than the whole Universal thing when they pull music off of the platform?
Probably.
Okay.
But Universal came back to the table, did they not?
They did. They have a deal, and music is returning to. I think it's already back.
Yeah, it's back.
And I think they just flipped the light switch, and you can use it again.
I don't know what the deal looks like and who is in favor of, but we know it ain't in favor for the writers. We know that, don't we? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But yeah, so they're back to the table on it. So the big concern that you've said before you thought was a fugazi.
Yeah.
Which is what?
The way it came about with the United States government passing the bill and saying if you don't sell, we're banning it here in this country. It has a reason for the United States. We have a very large American company that has a huge interest in whether or not TikTok stays or goes, and that's Alphabet. Alphabet is Google. Google owns YouTube. YouTube, I believe, is the second largest platform for shorts right now, which is where most of the content is going.
TikTok.
To TikTok,
right,
yeah.
Right.
And if TikTok goes away, all of that traffic, not all of it, a lot of that traffic surges into...
Meta's pretty big.
True.
I mean, Facebook and Instagram.
I'm not going to take away what Mark Zuckerberg is doing. Bad. Oops.
I don't know him.
Try to do that.
I found him on the street and I asked him if he wanted to make some money and join me on the podcast.
So yes, I mean, and you feel that Meta will make a resurgence, and I think it will, because everyone's not going to go to one place, and everyone's not going to solely put their content on one location. But
if it happens,
if it happens,
but
YouTube, I feel, stands the greatest chance of gaining the absolute most in TikTok going away.
No, I agree for sure,
because they've built the infrastructure to have a foothold in that market, and
right.
And I think the United States government is doing what it can to, and I'm not saying it's wrong, to keep dollars here and bring more dollars here. Sure. But they're hiding it the way they're doing it, saying that we're worried about data breaches and leaking.
Right.
Like, that stuff's already happened. So
it is, but it's still a real thing. I mean, you think about when you sign up for TikTok, right? You have to agree.
Yes.
To give up your name, your age, your location. What else? Your access to your camera, your mic. Keystroke rhythms. See, what a lot of people don't understand what keystroke rhythms are. Like, they can tell who you are by the way you type. Literally. And like, I want y'all to wrap your brain around that by how fast, how hard, and how long you press the keys. They can tell who you are. I mean, that's pretty deep, bro. You know what I'm saying? That feels intrusive. That feels like a proctologist appointment. It does.
I love the visual.
Shout out to all the doctors out there.
I've personally felt like we've been proctologied for the last 30 years, honestly. Like, once we left checks and went to debit cards, all of that information has been there.
But keystroke rhythms, man,
dude.
like,
whenever you log into something and you type your password,
well, actually,
that
you know what, you're right.
keystroke speed is the same
You're
thing,
absolutely
and
right.
that stuff is tracked
You're
already.
absolutely right.
That's what do you think cookies are? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it asks you want this website to track the phones. The last update on the iPhone, it has that now. Will you allow this app to track?
You're right.
It says it just like that. And
So you have to
option.
understand why that's a concern. When
Yeah.
you have 170 million Americans on an app,
Yeah.
that's a lot of information. And that information is so rich that it can be second and third tier, meaning where I might not work for the NSA, but my brother is on TikTok, or my brother's son, right? Third tier. That's still close enough to derive that. And in most countries, TikTok's already banned in government employees, the devices and things like that. But still, that's just a lot of information that you can do a whole lot of stuff with.
I'll be honest. I don't think a lot of people are thinking about it from the information standpoint. I think that's so high level at the government level of how we're going to try to get rid of it, and that's the excuse we're using. I think most people are looking at it only from the sake of how are we monetizing it and where I'm making most of my money.
Because the ground level people, you know what I'm saying?
Because I'll be honest with you, I don't personally care if you've got my keystrokes. I don't really care if you've got my passwords because I've got so many secondary backdoor logins.
I think it's important that my strokes be branded, man. I'll be stroking.
Yeah. Are yours the
That's
kind?
what I be doing.
Socks and Timberlands. That's yours?
Stroke it. Stroke it to the left. Stroke it to the right.
You can't help yourself ever.
Do you know what that is? Billy Rudy Ray. Was that Rudy Ray Moore, right?
Yes.
It's Rudy Ray Moore. All right. Anyway, back to the topic at hand.
I don't think that, and I'm starting at my generation, I think we've gotten so comfortable. We know our information's out there. We know that there's nothing that we can keep secret from anybody. If there's any information that you think is private, it hasn't been.
Right.
And I think it's such a secondary thought that people are really just focused on, this is a platform I'm using and it's part of my livelihood now. Mm-hmm. So it's more so that concern of I'm losing a revenue stream and can I recreate this by moving it to a different platform than what I had now? Because you've seen it when Vine went away. A lot of the top Vine stars, I'm not saying they weren't still stars, but they didn't necessarily replicate the same thing with Snapchat and TikTok. Different platform, different way that the app worked.
Exactly. That's the main part, right?
And it changes how you have to deliver what you're doing. So you've got a slew of people who are generating a lot of money, not just for themselves, but for brands. They're brands that are endorsing these TikTok stars, so they're going to lose money as well.
Right.
So I think it's a lot more than just the data loss potential, and the revenue loss is a little bit higher on that ladder than the other, from my perspective.
No, it can't be. Right now, obviously, small businesses in particular, the big corporations, hey, nothing. It's like, oh, I can't use Nike. Okay, hey, Adidas, you want to work with me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like that. But small businesses for sure, and creators. It said that small businesses, they generated $14.7 billion in revenue last year. That's a lot of money. You know what I mean? And to take that platform away from them, because it made it more efficient and less expensive to reach the masses by having TikTok. So, small businesses are definitely going to feel it. And needless to say, content creators are going to feel it as well.
Absolutely.
But what's her name? Charlie D'Amelio?
Yep.
She was the number one TikToker for a long time. And then...
Before.
I keep calling him Keedy. It's Caddy? Cabby Lane. Yeah. Right? Cabby Lane. Yeah.
You got to do the thing.
He's like, oh, TikTok going away?
Right.
No, this is TikTok and YouTube.
Yeah, there you go.
But Charlie, she's been getting blasted because she's just like, essentially, she's like, look, if it goes away, just go to another platform. She's just like, you don't always have to be the first on the platform, which I agree. Because one, if it does go away, what can you do about it? Sitting there whining and sucking your thumb and complaining is not going to bring it back if it does get banned.
Sure.
Two, it's there's so many other options out there that you can, which wasn't the thought that I was going to have on two, but I'm faking it right now because I'm trying to remember what two was. Was that this other? Then two is she's getting blasted for, like, people are like, girl, you act like TikTok ain't blowing you up. You act like you didn't need TikTok. She's not acting like that.
Sure.
That's going to get into another personal soapbox of mine on people, how they be getting in their feelings.
No, step on that personal soapbox.
Nah, I'm not going to do that. Okay. So just understand that small businesses, for sure, that's one of the things, they're absolutely going to feel that. But to kind of set the record straight on a lot of stuff, like, what does a ban mean? What does a ban look like? First of all, if Biden go ahead, so one is already on Biden's desk, so we're just waiting for Biden to sign it.
I thought he signed it already.
No.
He hadn't signed it.
He hasn't signed it yet.
Okay, the reason why I thought he signed it because TikTok has issued a lawsuit against the United States government.
To my point.
So, okay.
To my point.
All right.
So once he signs it, right, then ByteDance has 90 days to either sell it or the ban goes into effect.
Right.
Now, if they're in the middle of a sale, then they'll have 30 more days after that.
Okay.
But either way, if they don't sell it, which, ByteDance is saying they're not interested in doing,
right,
then the ban will happen. Now, but what happens when that happens? It's not like all of a sudden TikTok won't be available on your phone. Not like you won't be able to access it. It's not like, you're going to get on TikTok and all of a sudden FBI is at your door. Open up, TikTok offender. No, it's not going to happen like that, right? So essentially what will happen is updates will stop. Patches will stop. Security actually will become an issue, right? Because security fixes will stop, and your information becomes more vulnerable. So it's going to take time for this stuff to happen.
I'm pretty sure they're going to implement some IP lockdowns,
all kinds of stuff. Now, my thing is like,
people
and then of course it's going to be pulled off of the the app stores, so it won't be able to be. You won't be able to buy it. So if you have it, you'll still have it. But if you don't, when the ban goes in, you won't be able to download it. So this stuff is going to take some time because over time, when those security fixes and updates, when they stop, over time, the app will become less and less usable. Right. So eventually it'll fade itself out. But to your point, there's going to be legal battles once it happens as well. So it's not like TikTok's going to disappear like overnight. So that's the part that everyone keeps screaming like, I'm gonna just lose my money. I'm gonna be broke. Hey, you won't. You'll have some time to kind of adjust and figure it out.
I mean, you'll have your smart techie folks who they know they can VPN into it. I mean, so if they do the IP lockdown stuff.
They're always going to figure out some stuff.
Get into it from faking your location to somewhere else around the world, and that'll perpetuate it for a while too.
Foreign SIM cards,
absolutely,
all that stuff.
I also worry about what it'll do to us culturally because it has become such an embedded part of how we function. I don't know if people remember. I'm gonna be dating myself a little bit, but when MySpace finally went away,
what was that? MySpace.
What was MySpace? Yeah, it was the predecessor to to social media. Not really. It was the thing
like Black Planet. Oh.
What was that? At one point, MySpace was bigger than Facebook. Everybody had a MySpace page. Everybody wanted to be in somebody's top 8.
You're big when you become a noun or a verb.
Oh yeah,
right. We're like, what's your MySpace?
What's your MySpace? Yeah.
MySpace me.
Yeah, and that's kind of. There was a shock for. I mean, I remember it very because like people were fighting the shift to Facebook because at that time Facebook was still really heavily geared to just college students. Yeah. So it hadn't really like you weren't getting ads. You couldn't really upload a lot of the stuff, and your networks were just people you kind of went to school with, and it was so many layers you had to go through to make friends outside of your school. Yeah. So when MySpace got sold, and it didn't go away immediately, right. But like a lot of the things that you were able to do, like you say, it started to kind of fade away, and then the platform just it changed. Right. It just overnight at one point it disappeared.
Waste of money for Justin.
Yeah, and I mean every once in a while
his money, but still.
No, I mean he's still getting some ad dollars from it. People still frequent the site, so I'm sure it's not a complete waste. But
does anyone even realize that they tried to have a resurgence?
They did, yeah.
But does anyone even realize that?
Well, that was the thing. It was too late by that point, and I think that's what actually happens. Like you get that initial shock of we're losing this thing that's become such a big part of our culture. Right. But then when you're forced to change, going back is even more difficult because they didn't have an app for MySpace at that point, so it was no way for it to actually compete. It was a full on desktop thing, and then there's this old memorandum about Tom. Tom was real big. And every time Facebook does something stupid and they change Instagram and do something stupid there, we all say that all Tom wanted to do was allow us to have social media the way we want it, and this is how we treated him. And we remember that because now we gave up that freedom when we were forced to kind of move away from it once it sold. And now we can't go back to it. And I think the same thing will happen if TikTok does go away. We'll have that cultural shock. Sure. I mean,
absolutely.
Even like the dance stuff is still real big. Like there's 2 or 3 new trends almost every hour on TikTok, and one of those things catches fire, and then they like. I still haven't done my Wild one yet.
Like Charlie, that's why Charlie blew it, right? Just the dance things. Yeah.
Exactly. So, if that goes away, that's become a way that we've connected with people. Obviously something new will come up,
right?
But there will be a gap as we try to figure out what that is.
There's definitely going to be opportunity. I mean, because there's several new and emerging platforms. There's too many to name, but just off the top, fan base for one. That's a growing one.
Shout out to Ike Dirty, by the way.
Yeah.
Moving into the next round of fundraising. I think they secured the first $3 million and they're going to the next 10 at this point.
So fan base. I mean, it would definitely open up more opportunities for fan base to step up. Instagram Threads is actually rising as well. So there's a whole thing where podcasting, everything is going that we'll talk about one day too. But stuff like that, it gives them an opportunity as long as they take advantage of, okay, what is it that TikTok did wrong? What were the biggest fears and concerns about TikTok? Right. And then address that, which I know for a fact, like Ike Dirty has been trying to do that with fan base for sure.
Yeah.
And he on purpose has been addressing the whole, I mean, look, at the end of the day, folks, it's not a race thing, but if you take black culture out of TikTok, there's no TikTok. At the end of the day.
In America, yeah.
In America, right here. In America, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so those are the things. So it like anything else, when the market falls, that's an opportunity for people who are able to buy, So when this happens, it's an opportunity for emerging platforms to come on board. So, I mean, these are some of the, top 5 things that will happen should this ban happen, but, we'll have to see if it happens.
I'm curious what your thoughts are on what addressing those things
would
look like. What
Well, for one big issue is it won't be China controlled.
And that's the big thing.
And that's going to be the big thing of it all anyway. And look, at the end of the day, our government doesn't 100% have our best interests at heart unless it serves its needs. So, because I can say that and a politician will say, well, yes, we do. And they'll come up with all these things that shows it's our best interest. I say, yeah, but it's our best interest because it serves you in a certain capacity. You don't just have this flat out benevolence because we're American citizens.
Right.
No one believes that lie. I don't even understand. Well, actually, there are some fools who do, but it's a lie. And we all know that. So one thing that will be in there in the emerging markets, I don't know what's wrong with my tongue today. One thing that will be in the favor of the emerging platform market is that it's not controlled by China. Yeah. I mean, China at the end of the day its claws are in everything. It really, really is. And as a nation, that's something that I would always be concerned about. Always be concerned about.
I'm concerned when America controls stuff. So that
that too. Don't get me wrong, that too.
There's been some very invasive and intrusive things that Google's done. That still bother me.
Sure.
On all of the platforms.
And in the back room, behind the back room, it's all intertwined anyway.
Of course.
It's all intertwined anyway. So we think, well, China, but no, in the back room, behind the back room, they shaking hands. They shaking hands. So I don't know. What do you guys think? Are you scared? Are you nervous? Are you concerned? I mean, I know a lot of people go like, I don't care anyway, But then there's some people, like I said, small businesses generate 14.7 billion last year. That's a big deal.
Enough for the economy to feel it.
That's a big deal. I mean, that young mark demographic is hard enough to reach as it is, and they cracked the code with TikTok. Yeah. Now they gotta if the ban happens, now they have to figure all that crap out again. And that takes time and money. And as a small business, every cent counts, man. Counts.
Well, the reason why I didn't even say this, but you speaking to that, the thing that'll create that gap with those markets in particular is that demographic has access to TikTok right now. And don't necessarily have access or are looking to have access to any of the other platforms.
Right.
So there'll be however long it takes for the wave of that demographic to shift to whatever the new thing is for them to actually be able to be findable by the businesses who may already be there in preparation for the possibility of this happening. But the consumer isn't like, oh, TikTok may be able to go away. Let me find an alternative platform. The consumer doesn't think like that. It's going to happen knee jerk. Oh, crap, TikTok went away. What can I use now? It will happen that way as opposed to future thought.
Oh, right.
So that's the gap thing that I'm more so talking about. Not so much culturally. Culture is going to be a big thing. But I mean, from a marketing standpoint.
It'll just be a hiccup culturally.
Yeah, it'll be a hiccup culturally. It'll be more of a stall when it comes to marketing stuff because again, the eyeballs won't be in a centralized location as they are now.
Yeah, I think the people who are going to get hit the most are the women bouncing up and down in the gyms and the towels falling off.
Oh, yeah.
By mistake. That's going to be the hardest demographic hit.
Yeah.
All you women that don't know what to do anything else except use your body, yeah, y'all are going to hurt.
Yeah, you're going to lose some eyeballs.
But I guess if OnlyFans is around, then they'll be all right. I guess. I don't know.
This is the thing. So I love the fact that OnlyFans isn't just used for that type of content. There's a lot of really cool content.
If y'all know that or not, believe it or not, yeah, there's some really cool. I forgot the athlete that I follow, the NFL player, but it's cool. I just be seeing the day in the life of that crap, especially during training camp. Like that part's cool. I just don't. I didn't like paying for it, so I didn't, and that was over. But I did try it out for a month, and it was really neat seeing this dude wake up and eat breakfast and go. It was like, wow, that's it. It's just like this. It was the first time, not first time, but it really drove home just how much of a job.
Yeah.
Like we see it as sports and entertainment, blah, blah, but that joint is a job. And to watch his day in the life like that actually was very cool.
You can't remember who it was?
I do not, because it wasn't someone I on purpose tried to follow.
Gotcha.
It just came across. And I was like, it's like, watch me do. I was like, cool. Then it said, you got to subscribe. I was like, man, I ain't subscribing to this crap. And, then I said, well, let me just go ahead. I think it was like $9.99.
Yeah.
So I did. And I watched it a few. I didn't watch them every day, but I watched a few things, and it was really cool. I just wasn't trying to pay $10 a month for it. So.
Interesting you brought up subscription thing. This is one of the things that's actually, I don't know if it's a concern for everybody yet. I think it will become one. With the new deal that Universal has by bringing back their content to TikTok, they're actually having conversations about creating super tiers where there's an upper level of a subscription that you can pay.
Oh, Spotify's doing that.
They are. They're trying to do something.
Spotify's doing that. Right?
And if it starts to roll out into social media, stuff like this, I think threats of bans are going to be the least of the worries, because I don't know if the
horrible, and especially this is a whole nother matter of fact, we should probably do a podcast on it, because I don't know about it on the TikTok side, but I know where Spotify is concerned, it is horrible for copyright owners. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Because now, like, one, we're going to be forced to accept whatever the pay rate is. Right. And then the percentage is a percentage of a percentage of something. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, we should do that. We'll unpack that, but it's horrible, the whole tier thing. I'm so glad you brought that up. We do need to make sure we talk about that.
Yeah. Like, we'll absolutely get to it, because I mean, all the details aren't even out on how they're doing it. Every company that's trying it is doing it a different way. Yeah. I don't know what they're going to settle on, or if it's going to be something that they fully adopt, because it's in the trial stage right now to see. But I mean, you know how CEOs talk. We're certain that there are, our user base will be excited to pay the super tier things to have access. That's
like when politicians be like, Americans want this, Americans want. I'm like, I don't know you. I've never met you. We've never had coffee. You have no clue what I want. And so far, it hasn't been anything that you just said that I want. So anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, when they cast that wide net, you're always going to hit one or two people. So
wide net?
The wide net.
Oh, wide net. Not the YY net.
No.
Sound like a feminine product. LifeOnPodcast.com. That's where you can follow everything. You can go to our YouTube. You can watch the last 10 episodes there. You can go to a Spotify, wherever it is you want to go, wherever it is you want to bounce to, right there at LifeOnPodcast.com. As for me, you can find everything from LinkedIn to Twitter to Instagram, everything at StoneStafford.com.
Just Johnny Vaughn, JUSTJONYVAN. Over your stuff.
All right. We appreciate you guys. We love you guys. We are out. Peace.
So back to what I was saying.